raise your hand for questions. Mike, to you.
I'll be really careful with how I say this because I thought Andy's guys played extremely hard, and I told him after the game a lot harder on tape or a lot harder tonight than on film, and it's a credit to them, when they have lost a few in a row. But to me, this game was about our inability to be ready to play, and we were playing uphill the entire game, and it was because of having the wrong mindset, and that hasn't been an issue with our team, but hopefully a dose of reality that if you're not mentally ready to go and you're not willing to again be ready to go when the ball's jumped, and find yourself in a situation that we were in, and disappointing. Obviously it's a different game for us offensively with CC being out. Everybody sort of moves up a notch on the food chain in terms of ball handling responsibilities. We didn't answer that very well, and yeah, so not the merriest lead into Christmas, but it is what it is.
Coach, what did you say to the guys at halftime? I know that you were disappointed right now with the way they played, but what did you say to them at halftime going into the locker room without the lead?
I said, I'm not going to tell you I told you so, but I told you so, because our coaching staff sensed that it was a little too loose, and we tried to address it. But I got to do a better job. Job. Anybody can tell you, hey, you're not ready to play, or you look too loose, but so what? You identified and fixed the problem, and we had a problem to start the game. I told them at halftime if we play the second half the way we did the last 5 minutes of the game, or the last 5 minutes of the half, and we do a much better job of handling the ball, which I still don't think we did, then maybe the outcome will be different than it was in the first half.
Is that lack of focus something you normally see in practice the day before, or in warm-ups, or when did you catch it this time?
I just sensed when we got to the arena, it was more our staff sensing it, with guys getting shots, just being a little loosey-goosey in warm-ups, layup lines, and certainly you could sense it and feel it on the floor in the first 4 or 5 minutes of the game. Felt like it was a mortuary on the defensive end. There was no talk, and we got served.
Chris, what happened with Kristen, and what is his timetable?
He missed a little layup in traffic yesterday in practice, and it was a little bunny, and so he quickly second jumped and tried to tip it at the same time. A guy was sort of blocking him out / undercutting him, and so he landed on his back / butt, and his sort of head hit the ground, and pretty nasty. And he got up, so he's fine, and fortunately Fred held him out. He didn't feel as well the next day, and so we made the smart decision to sit him out with the symptoms, and we're very hopeful that the break for all of our players, but obviously Kristen, will serve him well, and that he can come back and be ready to go in the next game. There's 8-9 days in between when he did it and when we play.
Teams get down early. The natural tendency is to think we got to score. But so how often does it actually start on defense, that kind of return?
Well, with the way Robert Morris was defending us and us turning the ball over, it needed to start on the defensive end. We had to have an answer for how fast they were running their offense, how quick they were slipping their big to the rim. We did a poor job on a few pick and roll coverages that led to layups or fouls, and so or downhill drives. But for us, I'd like to think that it always starts on the defensive end, because your shooting's going to come and go. Your opportunities on offense, sometimes when you execute really well, you just miss the shot. You have to be able to get consecutive stops. And I thought outside the first 12, 14 minutes of the game, we really did that, because they had an awful lot of points in the first 12 minutes of the game. They end up with under 60.
Chris, Williams only got really 2 good looks, and you guys did a nice job on it. I think Quan for a lot of it, and then Dwayne some. Just talk about the job that they did on him.
Yeah, it was tough, and it was a lot of different guys. But Quan's been an excellent defender all year, and he's a guy that we trust to take a player, like Josh Williams, and chase him all over the floor and defend him without fouling. But some of their other guys stepped up, hit some shots that quite honestly we hadn't seen. But I thought the difference with Robert Morris tonight was they played a lot harder, especially offensively, and we were just a tick slow.
Steve scored more points tonight than he had over his past 3 games. What do you think allowed him to do that?
Well, he was working his tail off in the post, and really disappointing. And he may have said his teammates, guys get in habits that, bless you, guys get in habits that they can't really find Steve because he's invisible. And then tonight, he's doing a great job of sealing his man up the lane. He's asking for the ball on high lows. He's sealing his man on skip passes. And we quite honestly, we missed him a few times. So we're going to have to get better in that regard. But it was great to see. I thought it started with Steve's effort in terms of trying to seal his man deep close to the basket, which is so wide, so athletic. The more we can get it to him right there, as you know, if he gets fouled, he's an awfully good free throw shooter.
Chris, Steve, you go.
It seemed like for the first half they did a really good job of denying your team a chance to drive, and when your team was able to drive, they were able to get blocks. I think they had 7 blocks in the game. Were you surprised at how well they were able to defend early on?
Again, tape to tonight, didn't think that they played as hard as they did when they came into Yum Center. I was told by Matt Painter years ago, and I'll never forget it, if the guy on you blocks your shot on the perimeter, you just made really boneheaded play. And you think about if you play basketball, if a guy blocks your shot while he's guarding, you really, I don't want to say you can't play, but you gotta have that feel. Of course, a couple of them, one of them was 2 seconds on the shot clock, so there weren't a lot of options. But again, I thought Andy's kids played really hard all night.
Chris, Ryan has really been doing a lot more than shooting threes. When Darius went out, he made some great passes early on, now driving to the hoop. What are you seeing from him as he's trying to expand his game?
He didn't play very well in the first half, so you must be complimenting him on the second half. I was really disappointed in Ryan's approach to the game in the first half. And we need him to be stronger with the ball when he gets in traffic. We need him to be stronger with the ball when he gets in traffic, because he can get in traffic. His defender is going to be in the air a lot, because all he has to do is look up at the banners, and guys are going to jump. But it's the ability to make decisions and be tough with the ball that we really need out of Ryan. And defensively, he needs to have a louder presence and a louder voice on the floor, because he's such a smart player. But if you don't dispense that knowledge, it really doesn't matter. And I think those are the 2 areas for growth that, although you might think Ryan's becoming a better player, I feel like he's really falling short of his potential right now, because he can be a lot better and a lot tougher than he is right now. We need him to be a really good team.
Coach Mack, Robert Morris started 12 for 16 from the field, and they went 11 for 45 in the game. What kind of defensive adjustments did you make to make sure they kind of got rid of that hot hand from the start?
Yeah, none. Didn't make any. That's how good of a coach I am. I'm serious. Sometimes you say in a huddle, or you say at halftime, we have to make these adjustments, and I told our team at halftime, I hate being this coach because I feel like I'm not giving you answers. We're not playing hard enough. That's it. We're not playing hard enough. When you play to the level that you can, you play really hard defensively, and then there's some things that are broken and we need to fix, then we'll address them. But we can't evaluate as a coaching staff, what our scheme is doing, because we're not playing very hard. And I think a lot of coaches sometimes just scream and say play harder and don't give their guys answers. And I try not to be that coach. But tonight it was called for. We weren't playing hard enough. So that's the adjustment that we made, was to tell them either play harder or we're going to lose the game.
Chris, I'm going to ask you the first question about the game coming up. Obviously, you know what it is. Your focus has been on Robert Morris, but you've not coached in this Louisville-Kentucky game yet as a head coach at U of L. What excites you the most about coaching that rivalry?
It's a big game. Excited about it. We'll worry about Kentucky after Christmas. We got a really good team. Thanks.
Thank you.